Hello and a very warm welcome to latest case analysis series by LawSikho. For today's discussion, we've taken up a Supreme Court decision which is dated 27th of November 2020. The name of the case is Moin Faridullah Qureshi versus the state of Maharashtra. It was decided by a three-judge bench, and the bench consisted of Honorable Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, Justice Indu Malhotra, and Justice Indira Banerjee. Now let's proceed and understand the issue of law. So the court was to decide whether a judgment which has attained finality can be challenged under Article 32 of the Indian Constitution. So essentially, the issue of law was that once a judgment attained finality, so once the appeal has been decided by the highest court having the jurisdiction to entertain the appeal, or once the revision petition has also been decided, then once the judgment attains finality, because all the other methods of getting the judgment impugned has been extinguished, the judgment becomes final. So, can a writ petition be filed in the Supreme Court challenging such a judgment which has attained finality? This is the issue. So, now let's proceed and understand the brief facts of the matter and the nuances of the issue of law and the eventual answer of the court. So, following the March 1993 Mumbai serial bomb blast, petitioner was arrested as he was one of the accused, and during the pendency of his trial, the petitioner moved an application before designated court under TADA. So, TADA is essentially Terrorist and Disruptive Activities Prevention Act. It is a special statute which was brought in 1980s in order to curb the increasing instances of terrorism in the country. So the designated court under this particular statute, so the petitioner filed an application before this designated court seeking protection of Juvenile Justice Act and claiming that he was a juvenile. On 22nd of November 2006, however, the designated court dismissed this application of claiming juvenility benefit, and on 4th of December 2006 and 24th of June 2007, by its judgment and order, the designated court under TADA, it convicted the petitioner and sentenced him to undergo rigorous imprisonment for life. Now, an appeal was preferred before the Supreme Court by the petitioner, and the petitioner filed statutory appeals against the final order and judgment of the designated court convicting him, and also he filed an appeal in the Supreme Court challenging the order of the designated court dated 22nd of November, whereby his application claiming the benefit of juvenility was dismissed. So this particular order, it was also challenged in the Supreme Court itself. Now, the Supreme Court disposed of this appeal of the petitioner, which challenged this order of November 22nd. And while doing so, the Supreme Court had held that the petitioner was granted the liberty to pursue his right in main appeal, which is arising out of the conviction. So the court disposed of his appeal because the court did not find substance in it, and the relief which he sought was not granted. However, the petitioner was granted the liberty that you may go and pursue the right which you're claiming here in this particular appeal in the main appeal, the statutory appeal which you've preferred against the order of conviction. Now, on 21st of March 2013, the petitioner's appeal against his conviction, it was dismissed. And on the issue of juvenility, the apex court had held that TADA, being an act enacted for special purposes, will have prevalence or it will prevail over any other legislation. And pursuant to this decision of the Supreme Court, a review petition was filed by the petitioner, and in July 2014, the petitioner's review petition was also dismissed. So here we can conclude that the judgment of conviction and sentence of the designated court, it attained finality because the appeal was dismissed and the review petition was also dismissed. And thereafter, a writ petition under Article 32 of the Indian Constitution challenging the March 2013 order of the Supreme Court was filed. The present, and this is in fact the present case before the Supreme Court, the analysis of which we are having now. So, the present proceeding before the Supreme Court, they were instituted under Section 32 and they sought setting aside of the petitioner's sentence and also the grant of benefit to the petitioner of juvenility. So, this was sought. So, this was sought and setting aside of the petitioner's sentence was also sought while maintaining his conviction. Now, essentially, the case of the petitioner was that in the case of Mohammad Jalis Ansari and others versus the Central Bureau of Investigation, it is a 2011 case. The Supreme Court had allowed plea of juvenility to be raised in this particular case. And this is essentially a case of the co accused of the present petitioner. So, now having understood it, let's proceed further with the reasoning and decision of the court. So the Supreme Court observed that the appellant's conviction by designated court, it was upheld by dismissal of his criminal appeal and rejection of his review, and hence his conviction attained finality. Now the issue of juvenility, it was raised and heard, specifically dealt with before designated court and also by the Supreme Court when the appeal was heard. So this issue it was also dealt with and it had also attained finality by virtue of the fact that the appeal, one of the appeals, it was disposed of and the other was dismissed. Now the relief sought would require the Supreme Court in exercise of its jurisdiction under Article 32 to overturn sentence which was imposed on petitioner as an outcome of Tada case before designated court when the conviction and the sentence was upheld by the Supreme Court in the criminal appeal. Therefore, the remedy of the petition under Article 32, the court stated, would not be available when the conviction had attained finality. And this is the answer to our question of law or the issue of law. And the court was informed of the fact that the petitioner's intention of filing a curative petition was stated. So essentially, the counsel who was representing the petitioner, he stated the intention that the petitioner will be advised to file a curative petition. So the court stated that the court refrained from expressing any opinion on that, leaving lawful options open for the petitioner. And while doing so, the court dismissed the present petition on ground of maintainability. So that's all we have for this case analysis. At the end of it, you may find a list of abbreviations which we've used in the note. You may refer to it. And thank you for being with us.